Yes, it's Laurie Knerr. Look a little bit different than Anne Marie, but thanks, Anne Marie, for the changing up, and we got this together. So good morning to everyone here in the center. It's wonderful to see everyone, and especially hear the music and share love together. This is just a wonderful place to be. So today, I have a couple of selections, 2 quotes and a short story that is related to Dave Bell's message today on forgiveness. So the first is a C.S. Lewis inspiration from a compilation entitled A Little Book of Wisdom, Meditations on Faith, Love, Life, and Literature. He wrote, "Everyone says forgiveness is a lovely idea until they have something to forgive." So forgiveness is one of those virtues that's easy to talk about, but incredibly hard to practice, particularly when we are hurt or when we have been seriously wronged. Forgiveness wouldn't be that impressive, and it wouldn't be that meaningful if it came naturally. So this morning, I want to share with you a really interesting overview. It's a Washington Post story. It also was written in the Chicago Tribune. And I can send the link if anybody's interested in the full story. It's fascinating, but it's really, I've shortened it way down for today. And it relates, of course, to the power of forgiveness. And it's also really current and timely because of a national issue that speaks to the ongoing challenges that our nation's facing with immigration. The story centers around Laura Calderwood, whose 20-year-old daughter, Molly Tibbetts, was allegedly murdered in 2018 by an undocumented immigrant in Brooklyn, Iowa, and was left to rot in a cornfield. After her body was discovered, the community was inundated by all forms of media. Molly's mother was constantly contacted by letters, calls, visitors. The tragic incident became a mass and social media firestorm, and Trump interjected himself in here, as we know he does, about immigration. People were trying to stoke her passions, constantly trying to make her angry because her daughter was murdered by an undocumented worker. And the people in the community were, just carrying on. This is why we need the wall. These people are animals. They need to be deported. We need to protect ourselves from them. It was a farm community, a quiet, comfortable farm community with a lot of workers, that it just turned into a big shame storm, and there was anger and rage directed towards the other. And then Molly's younger brother, Scott, was a high school senior at the time of her death, and he was like a great young man, and he was a quarterback, and he was a good friend with Uli. And Uli was a child of undocumented Mexican immigrants. And for years, Uli's parents had lived and worked alongside of the man that killed Molly at the same dairy farm on the other side of town, so they all knew each other. And because Uli's family was undocumented, and Molly's murder suspect was then arrested, his parents moved away quickly from their home after living there for over 10 years. They left their community because of the backlash, negativity, and outrage that was directed to all the other undocumented workers living in the area. That meant that Uli, their 17-year-old son and really good friend of Molly's brother for years, could not finish his high school senior year in the only town that he had ever known. So what did the grieving Laura Calderwood do? She demonstrated remarkable compassion and opened her home to Uli, promising his parents that she would care for him in their absence. This allowed the son's friend to graduate with his high school class and live in a good, safe home in a community that he grew up in and belonged to. So this story is a beautiful example demonstrating the power of forgiveness, especially knowing that there has been such grief and pain in that mother's heart. Yet she was able to find a way to move through the pain and rage, to embrace something that is common only in shared humanity. Human beings need forgiveness because a nation devoid of grace will make its people bitter, miserable, and have detrimental short and long-term negative life quality impact on all of us. Forgiveness is a way to move forward. It's a form of empathy. It's amazing grace and understanding. We must practice it today and every day in big and small ways with every person and with ourselves. And I'd like to close this reading with my friend Ernest Holmes, a quote from him. Love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It can be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, forgives, and makes whole. Namaste.